All right, so how many of y'all have been pulled over by a cop before? If you haven't, I'd be careful around here because there's a bunch of them around here. Anyway, okay, so imagine this. You're riding around, you're kind of having a bad day. You're going to school, you're late for something, and you pass a cop, and you look in your mirror, he turns around. And so you pull over, you do all the things you should normally do when you get pulled over, and he walks up to the window, asks for your license and registration. And then you can tell he kind of has a rude tone to his voice. You can tell he's kind of in a bad mood, and you're already in a bad mood, so it kind of makes it worse. And then you're kind of rude to him. And after you get this exchange done, he leaves, and you're like, I don't know why he was like that. I did nothing but what I was supposed to do with him. And well, little do you know, he just left the scene of an accident that left 2 dead, and he was in charge of communicating with the family of the 2 victims. And I did a ride-along before I came to this college, and I rode along, I talked to him, we did all the stuff, we went to court, and I talked to him about all the parts of being a cop. And then I asked him, how do you do it when you're at a wreck or you just came from a suicide? And he said, you just have to put on a new face and just kind of keep going with your day. He said, there's nothing you can really do about it. Just try to do the best you can for everybody else. And as I'm sure y'all can kind of figure out, it's pretty hard on cops. And Data Center for Disease Control states that Americans commit suicide at a rate of about 12 per every 100,000. And in cops, people who have been in or are in law enforcement, they commit suicide at a rate of about 22 per every 100,000 officers. And the suicide rate's generally higher for cops than the general population. And according to the Center for Disease Control, more than 31,600 people commit suicide in 2004. And the National Police Suicide Foundation estimated that more than 447 of them were cops. And that number does nothing but continue to climb as time goes on. And here's a table of how the annual suicide rate in different sized departments is higher as the departments are smaller because they have less resources, less people to kind of go to because it's more of a smaller town, less money, stuff like that. And one of the main nonprofit organizations that help with this is the National Police Suicide Foundation. It was founded in 1997. It's an organization to help officers deal with the mental stresses of the job. And the Police Suicide Foundation website said they help through providing support services that meet the psychological, emotional, spiritual needs of law enforcement on every level, and that includes the law enforcement families. When, like, if somebody dies or like a cop commits suicide, the families, it's really hard on the families too. So they kind of create a relationship with the families, and they'll go to their houses and check up on them and bring them food, and they'll do all these things they need for them to do. And like they also help out with money sometimes, like financial issues. They'll help fix that since they see that they don't have an income anymore. If it was just the dad or mom that was working that died. They help to comfort police and their families using peer support. So like cops that have been in that situation before, or counselors, they help go there and they kind of help them get through it all. And they also use other things, like they can get massages for people who need it, counseling, other services that use peer support, like they go out and have a good time, they shoot guns, they go bowling, just something of that nature. And it really helps alleviate the stresses of the job. And they also work with the family, so like I said, they help buy food, or they just kind of take them out, give them money to go do something nice. And really it helps a lot knowing that they have that family of police behind them. And all I gotta say is the job's already hard for them. Just try to make it a little easier, be nice, because it could just save their life.